Right, welcome back to Morris Modified. So, it has been a while since I put a Soarer video up, and that is because I've been having a little bit too much fun with it. So, it's handling full boost. I've now got a new little boost gauge here with an EGT gauge that I haven't fitted up yet. I found that she's running about 12.5 psi boost at full peak, which is what you'd expect for an OEM stock system on a 1JZ or even an RB back from the 90s, because they do run ceramic bushing journal bearings, I believe. So if you go anything above that, I think anything above 14 or 15 maybe, they shatter. So 12 is what I expected, and I'm not complaining. It's actually enough for me at the moment. Obviously enough is never enough, to be honest, but we did run into issues with the transmission, and that's my fault. I have been abusing this car, and I didn't expect to be driving it the way I've been driving it, but she's slipping in the second sprag clutch. So I believe it is going to be the solenoids. Hopefully I'm going to replace 1 and 2 shift solenoids. So I believe it's solenoid 1 to shift from first to second. No, sorry, it's solenoid 1 and 2 to shift to second, which is I guess the sprag clutch is handling the most torque. And then it's I think 1 off on number 3, and then no solenoids at all for number 4, or gear 4. So correct me if I'm wrong, I'm probably wrong, but it's, yeah, both, I know that both on for clutch 2 and both off for clutch 4. So one of those solenoids I'm hoping is faulty. I've also got the torque converter lockup solenoid I'm going to replace, as well as another oil filter. So I did not record. As I said, I've been driving it really hard, and it's been handling it so far until the last 2 weeks. So anyway, I'm going to pull this pan off, we're going to replace these solenoids, and fingers crossed this box is going to last a little bit while longer. So another thing that went south, I do love these G7 rims, but as you can see, they're old in age and they've had a fair few repairs. But already, this weld here, you can see a crack. This weld here, you can see another crack. This weld here, you can see a huge crack, and that's actually peeling back as well as there. So she was starting to get a bit noisy on the road, and after seeing that, we pulled the rims. But in saying that, I thankfully came across some really nice raised paint in place, genuine raised paint in place, deep dish 3-piece rims as well. So these have taken the place, and they're doing me pretty well so far. Brand new rubber, cheap rubber, it's not great rubber, but it's good enough. Stretched 215s over a 9 rim and 8s on the front. So a bit more dish, a bit more shine. They're in pretty immaculate condition. And I picked them up for a steal, so I am absolutely stoked. No more G7s for now. They'll get refurbished at some point. And we're going to run these raised paint and place rims from now on. So a quick rundown on what's going on with the 1JZ at the moment. I did get the thermo fans working. So thankfully, all it took was a replacement of a relay. So all the wiring and everything works. The actual temperature switch works. And yeah, so far she's running well. No issues. It comes on at about 90 degrees and stays on until it drops. Though I did replace some power steering hoses here that were actually cracked and sweating, and I found it used to be absolutely caked in fluid everywhere, and it was actually getting onto the belt. So as you can see now, it's drier and it's definitely not as oily as it used to be. So cleaned up. So far it's doing okay. I might replace that gasket at some point, but so far that 518 seems to be holding up. There's a bit of sweat there, but I'm not worried about that. It's a lot better than it was. I also got this, if you can see it, a nice shiny bash tray underneath. So a little bit of underbody protection, protects whatever was flicking in here. The air filter was getting dirty, and dirty quick, because obviously everything off the road is being, I guess, drawn up here, or who knows how. But anyway, it's now a little bit of protection as well as aerodynamics, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I'll have a better look underneath when I actually get underneath to pull this transmission pan off. Oh yeah, and I did get the front forward splash tray under here as well. That helps direct airflow into the actual condenser radiator as well. So heck load of work still to go, but I'm pretty keen anyway. Let's get to it. Bit cozy in here and a bit warm, but anyway, let's get it done. So closer look at the solenoids. I've got to grab the instruction manual out to make sure I'm replacing the right ones. But so far I'm only seeing 3, so 2 shift and 1 lockup. Hopefully. So anyway, let's hope I got the right ones, eh? So we're getting a bit of slippage in second gear. Now I've replaced the shift solenoids, the torque converter lockup solenoid, the input and output shaft speed sensors, and I've actually raised and adjusted the actual line pressure. So on this, sorry, I'm going to pop the mic again. On most of your old school automatic transmissions, your line pressure is controlled, well, a lot older than this anyway. Your line pressure is controlled by a vacuum solenoid and a regulator, I believe it is, or something along those lines up here in the engine bay. On these A340Es on the 1JZ Soarers, is actually controlled by a cable here. So the tighter you go, the more harsher shifts and more solder shifts will be, but the less comfort they'll be. The looser you go, obviously the more comfort, the more softer shifts will be. So ideally, you'd want them to lock hard so that you're getting less slippage, you're not going to wear out those clutches, and that's what I've done. So to adjust it, you've got to first make sure that your throttle cable is adjusted correctly. So once you've sorted that, pretty much flat foot to the floor, you go up to the stop, and then you make sure that the line pressure cable here is not loose. You want a bit of tension on there, which it is now, and that's how I've achieved no slippage. But we still have a timing retard problem where the actual ignition retard for the shifting is actually coming on too early. So there's still issues there, but it's not really bothering me. It's just not performing as best as it could. So we're going to upgrade the valve body, replace all the springs, the valves, inspect the whole unit. This will be the first time I'm actually messing around with an automatic. I've had, as I said, experience in DSGs and whatnot, like dual clutch gearboxes, which are pretty much just a manual gearbox controlled by electronically controlled manual gearbox with 2 clutches. So this is actual dual wet clutch, which is similar to what you see in these automatic transmissions. It's just a whole bunch of spray clutches. So we'll see if that works. Hopefully I'll achieve something out of it, and I'll actually get quicker shift times and whatnot, but she still performs. I can still take her up the mountains, no issues at all. It's just really on full takeoff, the time retarding between first and second gear comes on too early. So the reason that time retard is there is to keep the turbo spooling between the shift, so that pretty much that's it. It pretty much keeps the turbo spooling. I don't think it really is necessary too much on the older cars. It is on these newer high performance DSG sort of style gearboxes and whatnot, but honestly I could probably code that out and be done with it. It may be worth checking an ECU, but anyway, I'm getting too far into the Soarer, so we'll move on to the Mark 5. The Mark 5, as you saw at the start of the video, we finally got around to fitting the rear bumper, and we had a custom exhaust made up. So originally we were supposed to weld up and cut the exhaust ourselves, but we decided that that's going to be a bit of a mess around. So we had the exhaust made up by, I'm not sure what company was that.
And there's a local company, if you know what the name was.
Local company around Brisbane area. And we had the bumper painted by a mate. He had a contact, so the bumper's been painted correctly 2 times. It's black at the bottom, red up top. It's fiberglass, and we fitted it all up together, so we're pretty bloody happy with it. But as for next to the Mark 5, we still got the big intercooler upgrade that we're fitting, so that'll be going on to the Mark 5, and she's actually stage 2 now. So Jordan has driven at stage 2, and he was gobsmacked at how much power of an increase it was.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Unfortunately, we didn't get that video. We weren't thinking at the time. We were just eager to get the thing running and obviously have a bit of fun with it, which we did. So the next stage is intercooler, and in the future, hopefully a KO4 rebuild, a lot more extensive work to come. But for now, we're getting there. We're pretty happy with where it is for at least a little bit of a while after the intercooler. So the real reason we're here tonight is to reveal something very, very exciting. We have a Nissan in the mix now, a 370Z, would you believe? And yeah, another car to join the Morris modified fleet. So this build here, we are more focused on aesthetics, and these cars pretty much come with all the performance mods. You would really need to just sort of buy the car, take it onto the track. They come with a quad 4-piston front caliper setup on each side, and I think twin piston on the rears. So brakes, I'm pretty happy with. If you really wanted to upgrade the brakes on these things, you can go carbon, ceramic, and slotted brakes. But honestly, you don't really need to upgrade the calipers unless you get into real serious racing. And for this build we're more focused on aesthetics. So this car will be getting an exhaust, we'll be getting an intake and a tune. So we've been shopping around for some intakes and a beautiful symmetry on these VQ motors. Oh, it just puts a smile on your face when you see things that just sort of line up, like the fine detail with the wiring harness on each side. But anyway, not getting too far into it. We're going to be doing hopefully twin K&N pod filter Typhoon intakes, I think they are. So you got nice aluminium piping, I think they're about 4" into big pods, or there is a few options on the market that we've been looking at. So even Cheery does intake system and whatnot. They're sort of carbon fibre, but they are pricey, and the induction actually comes down into somewhere in the front and the bumper here. So yeah, that's about it for the engine on this thing. We're not going to really focus too much on anything. It comes with strut braces already. Obviously you can stiffen it a bit more up if you were going to drift it or whatnot, but you don't really need to do too much of these things to get performance out of these cars. These are probably one of the only cars, as well as the 350Z, that you can buy off the shelf, take it to the drift track and drift it. There's more than enough torque and power in these cars, and yeah, we're going to have some fun with it. But anyway, this car will be more focused on aesthetics. We will be doing rims and tyres, and as I said, exhaust, intake and tune. So we'll see how we go. We may find things like splitters and whatnot later on. The more we aim the car, the more probably things that we're going to want to do to it. So yeah, an exciting car to have in the fleet, and exciting road ahead. Exciting mix amongst us. So anyway, we'll have some fun with these 3 Bs and see how we go tonight. Hit the mountains, hit lakeside, hit the track, enjoy ourselves, enjoy our rides. Anyway, love, build and approve.